nothing wrong. We got 90-degree temperatures in the upper Midwest, cooling off inside, watching Brewers baseball with the kind of entertainment that they provided this weekend, man. Like I said, nobody hotter than the weather these days but the Milwaukee Brewers. They are closing in on the Chicago Cubs. Can you believe they're 8 games over the 500 mark? Man, I'm in a good mood today. All that and more coming up next on this edition of Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The thing about being a Milwaukee Brewers fan is some days you just can't stand them. You hate them. You just don't want to watch them, right? They discuss you so much that you're like, oh, I'm not going to watch that game tomorrow. And then there you are, right in front of the TV set, watching the game on FanDuel Sports, right? I mean, that's the way it is with me. I mean, I got to watch it anyway because that's my job. But there's some days I'm like, man, I don't want to watch these guys play. You know, they've scored 1 run in the last 5 games. God, why do I want to see some of that? But who would have guessed a month ago? If I would have said a month ago, the Brewers, that first Summerfest weekend, they're going to complete a 3-game sweep of the Twins and move 8 games over the 500 mark. 8 games over the 500 mark. Man, no one saw this. They got like the best record in baseball since May 15th. And man, they needed to go on this kind of run because they were falling behind the Cubs. They're now 3.5 behind these guys. But what a weekend it was. I feel like we're all like rejuvenated as Brewers fans. Miserowski with what he's doing. And when, you see the offense like it is this weekend, I don't know who that Brewers team was this weekend, but I sure as heck loved it. 35 runs in 3 games. They had like 45 hits. Their team batting average in the 3 games in Minnesota, they batted .402. They batted .402. 35 runs in 3 games. That's like 2 weeks worth of runs for these guys sometimes. But in those 90-degree temperatures up there in Minnesota, man, the Brewers provided some entertainment. So I didn't mind. Like Sunday, was going to go out and maybe get a little round of golf in before the Brewers game today. I'm like, too hot. So watch the pregame show, settled in, put on the air conditioning, put on the fan, and nearly watched the Brewers blow this one. Yeah, it was reminiscent of the game on Thursday against the Cubs. And I put out a tweet. When they got up like 8-3. Oh, 8-3, man. They're on their way to winning this one, right? And I said, well, and I kind of made a reference to the Cubs series. And sure enough, got up 9-3. The Brewers just, then they find a way to just raise our heart pressure, raise our blood pressure, get our heart rate going. But we love them. We love them. And, those of you guys who watch this podcast, and I hear from all you guys. I hear from you on Messenger. I hear from you on Twitter. And it's great because we're all in this together trying to pull this team through and maybe catch the team to the south of us. But, yeah, that thing was unraveling. And when it got to the 9th inning, when it was 9-8 and Bader doubled, I thought, okay, the baseball gods were on the Brewers side on Thursday when the Brewers held on for the 1-run win after having a 5-run lead at Wrigley. Are the baseball gods going to be here again with McGill on the mound? So he gives it the double to Bader. And when honestly, off the bat, that ball by Bader that he hit, I thought it was gone. It somehow died out there in left field. And, one hopped the wall, barely. And it might have hit the lower part of the wall. In any case, he doubled. And I'm thinking, oh, boy. And then the Brewers intentionally walked Byron Buxton. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, boy, fastest guy in baseball. I know he already hit 2 home runs on today, but that's the go-ahead run. And let's face it, had one of the next couple of hitters hit one in the gap, that game's over right there. Buxton, no one's stopping that guy. And we're all sitting here tonight saying, what was Murph doing, walking Buxton? That's the thing about being a manager. You make these decisions, and you could either look like a genius or you could look like a complete idiot. In this case, he looks like a genius because he walks Buxton, and then McGill gets the next 2 guys out. But, like the old saying is, and they mentioned that on TV, you never want to, I think they mentioned that on TV, you never want to walk, or you never want to put the go-ahead runner on base by walking the guy, right? Or in this case, intentionally walking. So McGill did that, or the Brewers did that, and then McGill gets out of it. And good vibes are in the Freeman household as the Brewers extended their winning streak to 4 in a row. They're 43-35, season highs. I mentioned 8 games over the 500 mark. McGill, I mean, I didn't see, but again, with the Brewers, you never know what to expect. I didn't see when they had the 6-run lead, McGill having to get a 4 strikeout save, right? He comes in the 8th inning, gets the strikeout, and then comes in the 9th inning, walks the tightrope a little bit, and gets the save. So, and then he did it against the Cubs earlier. That guy, I was thinking about Yelich being named National League Player of the Week. Maybe it should be McGill. The guy had blood running through his veins, and even like last Sunday, getting the save after allowing the first 2 runners aboard on Father's Day in their last home game, and then strikes out the side. But I guess maybe Sunday. Well, Sunday was still the start of the week. Either way, McGill had a heck of a week. The guy has saved 17 of 19 games. And I mentioned this before. I know some of you guys out there, he raises your blood pressure like he does mine, but still, he's doing a great job out there in the bullpen, doing a fantastic job. And I don't know where this offense is coming from. It isn't. I mean, this is just amazing. 35 runs in 3 games. I mentioned this last week. The Brewers, I might have been on TV, I mentioned this, where the Brewers got one of the worst batting averages in baseball, but they're in the top 8 in runs going into the series against the Twins. Once in a while, they have offensive explosions like this. I got the Pirates coming up. Got to keep the foot on the pedal against these guys. But Yelich was the key offensively all weekend. I mean, the eight RBIs, and this is so Milwaukee Brewer like 8 RBIs and becoming the first player since 1920 to have 8 or more RBIs in a game without a home run. I mean, how Milwaukee Brewers is that? I mean, these guys weren't. Terang hit a bomb, and then Hoskins hit one as well on Sunday. But just ABC baseball, getting guys over, getting guys in, stealing bases, sacrifice flies. There was like 6 of them in this series. But whatever it takes to get runs in, whatever it takes. I think the only downside was when Durbin didn't tag up from third base, and he eventually scored on a wild pitch. Remember that? There was a fly ball to right center field, and somehow he's wandering off third base, which was weird. I mean, I could see that in my kid's 13-year-old Little League game, maybe, but Derby, what is he doing that? Fortunately, he scored, and at the time, I mean, to score 5-2. That's right. It was only 4-2 at that point. And then the offensive explosion, Terang later hit a 3-run shot. And what a weekend. What a weekend. But Christian Yelich was the man. And one of the big reasons why this guy, why the Brewers have turned it around so much is because Yelich has had 2 major runs at it. When they had their 8-game winning streak, he was player of the month, and he hit 500 during that week, and he's at it again. Since May 22nd, Yelich is hitting 397. Since May 22nd, 397. And May 22nd, I believe that's when he was hitting 183. He has risen his batting average from 183 to 259 in 1 month. 259. So, I mean, suddenly his numbers don't look all that bad. And even then, this whole entire month, he hasn't been all that great. He's gone through some cold slides as well. In some of these games, he's looked bad. But as a whole, in the last month, he's had 2 major runs at it. And wow, he's batting 394 since May 22nd. That's pretty incredible. And the raises average from 183 to 259, 2.5 months into the season, almost 3 months into the season. Pretty cool. And that's what they need. They need guys like Yelich and a few other guys stepping up. But Terang getting heavy there with that 3-run bomb, that caught me. I jumped out on the couch, and man, there was a celebration time with your boy Freeman in Elmira. Murphy said this a couple of weeks ago. He kept saying, we haven't played our best baseball as of yet. Haven't played our best baseball as of yet. And we're seeing signs of it right now. Similarities to what we've seen the last couple of years. We'll get to that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. Wonderful Pistachios, a terrific sponsor of Locked On Brewers. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Check out my guys at Wonderful Pistachios. One of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has got 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of the daily value. I put them in my yogurt after I get done getting a workout in. Makes me feel fuller, longer, and I know it's packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats, which what our body needs. And also, the protein punch that they have, the no shells variety, perfect for the grab and go. But they're healthy for you, they're good for you, and they pack a protein punch is what we need. Get snacking, get cracking with a snack that packs the protein punch. That's Wonderful Pistachios. Visit them online. You'll find out how good they are for you. WonderfulPistachios.com, WonderfulPistachios.com, and you'll see the complete protein they are and the all nine essential amino acids. Good to have you along here on Locked On Brewers. I always try to drop this late Sunday night, early Monday morning. I thought about going up to Minneapolis this weekend. I see a lot of you guys did. I heard from a lot of people in the Eau Claire area this weekend. You all sent me pictures. You told me where you're coming from, Eau Claire, Chippewa Falls, my old stomping grounds. Wrote me and told me, yeah, I'm going over to the Twin Cities or I'm staying at home. I heard a lot from people from Eau Claire. I love Eau Claire. It's one of my favorite parts of the state, as I've talked about both here and on the radio. And again, Brewers and Twins fans both live in the Eau Claire area, La Crosse as well. And I heard a couple of fans from La Crosse today as well. But it's a good mixture of Brewers, Twins fans, mostly Brewers fans, and they got bragging rights. You all got bragging rights. But thank you, man. Thanks for taking time out and messaging me and all that. And if you got some of you guys had some Brewers questions, and I appreciate all that, you can always hit me up on Twitter, Chuck Freeman, FREIMUND, and Facebook friend me as well if you want. And you can always message me there. I'm always good. May not get to you right away, because I do get a lot of DMs and all that, but I will for sure get back to you in no time. You can find me on Facebook. And also, the podcast, you get it on Google, Spotify, Apple. We're on all the major audio downloads on there. And, of course, our growing YouTube page. I'm trying to get to 5,000 subs. It's all free. Go to Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That'll alert you every time we drop an episode of Locked On Brewers. The theme of this whole podcast tonight, when it got to be about 9-3, I thought about what Murphy said a couple of weeks ago during a press conference, and it was at AmFam Field. And he goes, we have not played our best baseball yet. We have not done the right things. We're a few notches off. And I remember him saying that. And this was like right around mid-May. And then they got on a little bit of a roll because, they weren't doing the things that got them the 93 wins last year. And not that I expected this team to win 93 games or expect them to, but there was little regression this year because they played so well and did so many right things, and so many things went their way, and they had a lot of bounces go their way too, right? And this year, there was little game slippage from these guys. I thought I saw some game slippage in many areas. Yeah, the offense struggled like it did last year, although you wouldn't know it this weekend. But the starting pitching has just been phenomenal. Now, you look at Thursday's game and Sunday's game, and you say, the bullpen wasn't very good. Yeah, a couple of slides. But Jacob Miserowski, and we're going to touch on him here in a little bit, as I think it's just been a shot in the arm to this team. But this team is pitching well for the most part. They're playing smart baseball, okay? Outside of what I mentioned before about Durbin not taking up. But they're doing all the right things. They're playing some smart baseball. Durbin's one of their smarter players. There's a lot of guys on this team. Smart, high baseball IQ. And they got to be that way. But they're playing that way again. They don't have the gaffes they have earlier in the year where they were making mistakes on the base pass and doing stupid things. And Murph had to bench guys. Those kind of things aren't happening right now. I really feel things are really coming together for these guys. Okay. Although the moment I always buy into the Milwaukee Brewers, I always get kicked in the face. But no, I really do believe things are coming together. Are they going to win 93 games? No. But as I've said all along, this team is not going to be sellers. Okay, they're not going to be sellers. They are not going to be sellers. I really, in my heart of heart, even if they're not competing for a divisional title, they're going to be competing for a wild card all year long. Now they're 3.5 behind the Cubs, who got beat 2-3 this weekend at Wrigley by Seattle. But Brewers are just playing some great ball and doing a lot of things they did last year. The defense, rock solid last year, and I think they have one of the best defensive teams in baseball again this year. Yeah, they had a couple of hiccups early in the season. Yeah, in April and in the May, but I feel like their defense is really, really good right now. And Ortiz, even though he made the error the other day, they were raving about him on Brewers TV this weekend. BA was, and rightfully so. He's making a lot of great plays, getting the balls in the defense. So that's good. Now you just can't hit. That's the problem. Jacob Miserowski, who's going to pitch again Wednesday against Paul Skeens. Wow. I mean, if this was the Yankees and Red Sox, they'd be talking about this all week on ESPN, right? And MLB Network. But it's the Brewers and Pirates. So you're probably going to get a few mentions on that, but it's not going to be drummed up if it was a big market team because, that Major League Baseball and the networks, they're all in love with their big markets. But we're going to be talking about it right here. And how about the Miz taking a perfect game into the 7th inning? In his second Major League start, the first Major Leaguer ever to go no-hit baseball over his first 11 innings pitched. That's quite an accomplishment. They took his hat and they brought it and they took it to the Hall of Fame. So he's pitching with a new hat. But what a beautiful thing on things to come. I was thinking of, this is probably the best start of a rookie pitcher ever with the Brewers, right? I mean, actually, it's probably, without question, not only the Brewers, I think Major League Baseball history. Guy pitched 5 no-hit innings first time and took a perfect game into the 7th in Minnesota. Yeah, it's never been done before. So that's like the best start in Major League Baseball history by a pitcher. At least in my book, right? 11 no-hit innings to start a career. It's pretty cool. He was talking about, saw a piece in the Journal Sentinel today about how he tunes out the outside noise. He doesn't go to social media and read what people are saying, or doesn't watch the networks or read the papers to see what other people are saying. Just going out and doing his job. I like to think that's true, but who knows? Only he knows. But so far, a lot to like with Jacob Miserowski. Some of you guys have written me about Rhys Hoskins. If the Brewers are indeed going to trade him, what are they going to do? Nick DeYoung? I think it's Nick DeYoung. Anyway, he's a loyal viewer, listener of this podcast. He'll correct me if I got his name wrong. But he wrote me today and asked me about trading Hoskins. Would the Brewers actually consider trading Hoskins? And I said, well, I'm going to use it on my podcast because it's interesting. But the more I think about it, I mean, with the idea that if you trade Hoskins, it's not like you're sellers, but you have Jake Bauers, they're having problems finding playing time for him because Isaac Collins, you can't take him out of the lineup. But Hoskins, 243, 11 home runs, 38 RBIs. And I was thinking, Hoskins, a big name, right? Kind of do I say a household name for Rhys Hoskins? But production, our team's going to be like diving after the Brewers for Rhys Hoskins. I feel like if the Brewers do trade Hoskins, it's going to be a salary unload. If he was making what Bauers is making, there's no way they'd consider trading Hoskins. No way. And I don't know what you're going to get in return for Hoskins because, the team is going to have to pick up the team that's trading for him is going to have to pick up the rest of his contract for this year. And there's that little $4 million bonuses for next year if because he's got an option for next year. So I don't know what his trade value is. I don't think it's as high as we might want to think. There's nobody going to be beating down the Brewers' door for Rhys Hoskins right now. 11 homers, 243, 38 RBIs, right? I don't think so. I mean, there's a few other guys who would teams would love to have from the Brewers. But Rhys, he's one of the more tradable players at this point because he's a veteran who's in the final year of his guarantee. But I don't see the Brewers trading him. I could be wrong on that, but who knows? Where are the Brewers right now in the standings, and who's coming up for the Brewers? Plus, Garrett Mitchell. I mean, I can't fault the guy for getting hurt, right? But it's never ending. Will we ever see the Garrett Mitchell that we all want? We'll get to that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook for a bunch of different reasons. I like their live betting. So if a team that you like maybe gets down early by a run or maybe two, hey, FanDuel, you jump on their live betting and it's all good. Summer sports in full swing. You're following in the action. Baseball, Wimbledon coming up as well. Get into the game while your friends are being sunburned at the beach. Stay inside and get into FanDuel. FanDuel, new customers, bet $5 and you get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Again, bet $5. Bet $5 and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Their live betting is fantastic. It's all up to date. It's right in front of your eyes. Go to our live bet section and you'll see it. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Get new customers. You bet $5, you get $150 in bonus bets put right into your account with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Down the stretch we go. As I mentioned, the Cubs dropped 2 of 3 at Wrigley to Seattle. And now the Brewers are 3.5 out after that 3-game sweep of Minnesota. 3.5 out. They were 6.5 out going into Thursday's game at Wrigley. So they've trimmed 3 games off that lead. St. Louis 4.5 out. Cincinnati 6.5 out. And the Cubs and Cardinals start a series Monday night at Busch Stadium. And I think we all become Cardinal fans for the next couple of days, right? Yes, we do. Cardinals 4.5 out. Cubs are 15 games over the 500 mark at 46-31. All right, what else do I want to pass along? Garrett Mitchell re-injured the shoulder. We'll probably know more about what's going on there, but he re-injured his shoulder while he was rehabbing. He re-injured the shoulder he had surgery on, and he just can't stay healthy. Man, it's just too bad. I don't know what point they're going to give up on Garrett Mitchell. But man, if he can't stay healthy, they always say there's a thing in football. There's a thing in the NFL. They always say you can't make the club when you're in the tub, meaning in the hot tub trying to, cure your injuries, or the cold tub. Garrett Mitchell can't get out of the tub, man. It's one injury after another with this guy. And again, I'm not putting the blame on him. It's just bad luck or whatever, injury prone. I hate using that term, but Mitchell can't stay healthy. We've never really been able to see him play a full season. I like him, man, as a player. When healthy, I do. I know he was only batting .206, but he went down at the end of April. But I like him. I was the idiot that said he was going to hit 25, 30 home runs this year. Or maybe I said 20 to 25. But I know it was over 20. He's got that type of potential. But if you're hurt and injured, I don't know. Are we ever going to see it out of him? I don't know. Brock Wilken, another guy who, he's not injury prone like Mitchell, although Wilken got hit in the face with a baseball a couple of years ago and had plastic surgery done, but he slipped in the locker room while celebrating the Biloxi Shuckers' first half title. He slipped. I didn't think minor league teams celebrated these things, but they do. He's got 18 homers. He's hitting about 230. But the problem here is I thought maybe Brock would be a future third baseman, but he's got a knee injury now. Again, we won't know more until there was swelling in the knee, but we won't know more probably until Monday on him. So on Monday night's podcast, hopefully I'll have an update on Mitchell and Brock Wilken. One more play. I want to give you an update. Tobias Meyers did pitch on Sunday for Nashville, and he had a nice start, 5 innings, 4 hits, and he struck out 6 on the Tobias Meyers watched, but Tobias isn't coming up here anytime soon. He is roadblocked big time in that Brewers starting rotation. All right, the Pirates in town, and as I said this in my short video right after the Brewer game today, Brewers are just, I mean, the Pirates are just one of those teams I just can't sink my teeth into. I can't say, oh, great, I can't wait for this series. I can't wait to watch the Brewers play, but they're playing the Pirates. You know, I that's the one team in baseball I just can't get excited about them playing. We're going to have great podcasts here the next 3 days. I hope the Brewers can sweep this series, right? I hope they can sweep. The Brewers, I'll just caution you a little bit. The Pirates did get swept by the Phillies a couple of weeks ago, right? The Brewers got swept. The Pirates did sweep the Phillies a few weeks ago. So they're like 15, 16 games under the 500 mark. The Brewers are lining up this for the rotation. Patrick, Freddie, and the Miz against Skeens on Sunday. Skeens 4-6, an ERA of 1.85. How about that? Skeens 4-6, a 1.85 earned run average. Against that would be Wednesday start. Tuesday, Freddie Peralta against Andrew Haney, and the Pirates don't know who they're throwing as of right now. Late Sunday night here, but Chad Patrick going for Milwaukee. Again, appreciate all the letters and all that, and all the messages and all the pictures that you guys send. When you guys go to a game, send them to me. I like to see where you're sitting. Let me, take a picture of you and the family. Man, nothing better, right? In the summertime, going to a Brewers game and enjoying it. But I appreciate everybody who's communicated with me and all that. And again, you find me on Twitter, Chuck Freeman, FREIMUND. And hit me up on Facebook if you want. But please, if you're listening to us on the audio platforms, do the podcast a favor, and you're doing me a favor as well. Go to Locked On Brewers on YouTube while you're signed in and hit the subscribe button on there, and hit the subscribe button on all your podcasts of Locked On Brewers, whether you're on Google, Spotify, Apple. There's a favorite button there, and that'll alert you every time we drop an episode. And you'll know when these episodes come down, and you can watch them at your convenience. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for me. Chuck Freeman. Thank you very much, everybody. Beautiful weekend, man. The weather was roasting hot, but as I said at the top, the only thing hotter than than the summer this weekend, the upper Midwest weather, was our Milwaukee Brewers. 45 runs in 3 games. Let's see what they have in store for the Pirates on a Monday night at AmFam Field. Looking forward to it. Got the Rockies coming in this weekend. Man, we got a chance to get maybe move 10 games over the 500 mark. Yes, that's certainly possible. All right, guys, have yourself a great Monday. This is Chuck Freeman, and thanks for making us your first listen to. I'm Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day.